It is another beautiful day on the platform. The platform is a current affairs program in which we discuss issues, plans, and visions with people of integrity, politicians, and role models in the society. On today's program, we have the special privilege of having a professor in the field of medicine. He's an accomplished operator of an NGO. Now he's into politics and he wants to showcase what he has in plans as vision for his people. So I have the privilege of having...
Everybody calls me Professor Wale Sulaimon. My full name is Wale Abdul-Rafiu Adeni Sulaimon. I'm from Ajashepo, in the Rekwadun local government, the Kwara South Senatorial District. I'm a proud Kwaran, a very proud Nigerian, a proud Igbomina man. I'm married, I have 3 beautiful children. As you can see, when you see RNZ, that's actually the initials of my children. That's Rahim, Najib, and Zainab. My wife is Patricia Sulaiman. So I think I should stop there before we start delving into career achievements and others, because sometimes people get carried away with what they do, and what I do is not what I am. What I am is what I represent, which is my family, my community, and the people that are very dear to me.
Coming to who you are as a personality, are you a politician? Or you are just venturing into it for a purpose?
Well, I am a human being that cares about the prosperity and progress in my community. We always say that, I always say I'm a professional in politics, I'm not a professional politician. I'm trained as a neurosurgeon, as an academician, as a physician executive. I bless God for the opportunity, so I've gone through the journey I've gone in my life to be able to help fellow human beings through the skills and expertise I've been blessed with. As a neurosurgeon who specializes in both brain and spine surgery, mostly minimally invasive spine. But besides being trained with that, as a medical doctor, a neurosurgeon with 2 fellowships in spine and peripheral nerve, I also had the privilege and blessing of God to be a professor of neurosurgery, but also to have led hospital, to have been involved in hospital administration and management, which is what mostly our company, RNZ Global, does.
All right, sir. You are once working with His Excellency the Governor in the capacity. At what point do things fall apart that you have to leave the party for another one?
Well, I guess, I don't know whether you're referring to the novel Things Fall Apart, the Center Shall Not Hold. But I think that, I wouldn't say things fell apart. So like I said, I am a trained professional. My calling is in dealing with complex brain and spinal issues. To be able, and through that, I've been able to give hope and healing to thousands of people around the world. Some of it through my organization in the United States, Ocean Health System, whom I worked for a long time. Some of it through the philanthropic efforts, which was featured on CNN, as you know, in terms of the things we've done to give back to the society. I've been involved in healthcare in Nigeria in multiple states for quite some time. I guess that's what His Excellency saw in me and felt that I could offer assistance to the state to advance healthcare. And I gave it all my best. The things we accomplished in a year were things that people could not do for multiple years. And I gave some example in the previous interview about the oxygen plant, how well we performed during the COVID. To your questions, I think, like I said, His Excellency Malam Abdurrahman Abdulrazak was my boss. I worked for him for a year. I gave it all my best. Just like in any situation where I'm given opportunity to perform, I give my best. And I felt like I was better off in the private sector to continue to help the state in any capacity I could. That's what I told him, that's what was released in the press release when I resigned. So to say things fall apart, I wouldn't put it that way. But I always make this statement that in Nigeria, if you are given a lot of responsibility without authority, you can't make too much of an impact. And there's always a divergence of leadership style. Anywhere you are, there's always a divergence of leadership style. Maybe somebody could attribute that to maybe why things fell apart. Things didn't fall apart. We just had to help the state in a different capacity.
All right. As a senator who wants to represent the particular district of the state, the person, how we want to make a difference that area, the society. How will you, as a senator, on that end?
So let me answer that question quickly. I know the first part is that I said I feel blessed to have been given the opportunity to have gone through the journey of my life. From somebody from a very humble background to have been where I am now, both successful as a neurosurgeon, as an academician, as a professor, and also as a physician executive. So I run a big company in Nigeria. So I feel blessed, and I believe that to whom much is given, much is expected. When I resigned from His Excellency's cabinet, part of it was that I wanted to go back to the private sector. Essentially, I wanted to go back to my job. Like I said, I'm a professional in politics, not a professional politician. I'm a neurosurgeon. I still do my job full time. I still take care of patients. That's very important to me. But also, in a way to give back, that's why we found RNZ Foundation, which I've been using for many years to do free surgeries, medical missions. So when I left the cabinet, I opened a foundation here to be able to continue to help our young people. We give a lot of scholarships, over 1,000 scholarships now, both for JAMB entrance exam, and if they pass, we will fund them through the university education, and those that couldn't get into university, we will fund them to go to School of Vocational Studies. So because we felt equipping young people with education and skills is one of the biggest ways to get people out of poverty. And then we also focus on farmers, which is where we do RNZ farmers, where we give our farmers seeds, fertilizers, sprayers, and also to make sure that they just go from sustenance farming to entrepreneurial kind of farming to grow. We did RNZ traders, which was meant to now support our traders, both women and female, male and female, to help them to be able to augment and elevate the level at which they were doing their business. And these were things that I felt, if you go to the Western world, democracy works because the basic needs of life, which is jobs, housing, health, infrastructure. So if you wanted to come and represent him in the United States, for instance, and I have my own house, I have a job, I have electricity, I have water, I can feed my family, you would have to work extremely hard to convince me to give you my vote. But in a society where people have been so impoverished, basic needs of life are not there. That's why our people can be cheated with very little amount of money to give up their votes. And so you start to wonder, is this a strategy or is this just a mistake? Have we just left things behind? So the things that we've been doing through the foundation, they were well thought through because we did a gap analysis. Now, people went around in Kwara South and looked at where the issues are. And a lot of it borders on lack of jobs, poor health care, access to health care. A lot of it bordered on insecurity. A lot of it bordered on people that want to do really, that need basic housing, just shelter to be able to take care of themselves, to be able to live in a comfortable environment. So when we did the gap analysis, we launched the program to meet the needs of the people. So in Kwara South, I can break it into 3 different aspects. Number one, we have not really had representative democracy, which means that the people that have gone to represent us were indeed truly chosen by the people. Now, we know how things have worked till now, where somebody selects who goes and represents us. So we've not had representative democracy. That's number one. And it's he or she who puts a person in the position. That's who the person is accountable to. So we're hoping that this time around, our people will be able to actually choose an independent candidate that will be accountable to the people, and that will go and fight for dividends of democracy for the people. Now, what are dividends of democracy? Those are the issues that you've touched on. So we have a 6-pillar strategy, which I can't unveil fully here. It will come out in our manifesto in terms of things that would overall empower, invigorate, and elevate our people, which is the first critical one is jobs. Jobs, jobs, jobs. When you have almost 70% unemployment rate. So it means 7 out of 10 people that are graduating or are ready for work are unemployed. And those that are employed, they are underemployed, which means they have full-time jobs, but they're not paid enough to sustain themselves or their family members. So we have a huge problem. Let me go deep into that. So we need to now look at what resources, what opportunities, what skill sets are available in that senatorial district to tap into it. If you look at tourism, mineral resources, agriculture, we have a lot of those things, but they have not been allowed to develop, and we have not driven them to their maximum capacity. Okay? So those are avenues to provide jobs. Number 2, if the local government function the way they're supposed to function, where they're well funded and they're able to invest in the basic infrastructure, primary health care centers, schools, to make sure they are at the level where they're supposed to be, we will not be in this situation today. So we need to fight to have functional units. All the units of government, local government, state, federal, they should function well. They should function, because that's where you can sustain things. So the other part of it is that, you need to, at that level, at the local government level, do what they need to do, create some opportunities for people. We have to work with the executive arm of the state, which the governor is the owner of the state. As a legislator, we can only push policies and fight for what's right for our people. We work with the state government to now find a way to develop those mineral resources and opportunities in our part of the state, Kwara South. Tourism, to explore and develop the mineral resources there. Agriculture is a big one. We need to go to modernize, mechanize agriculture, not just for local consumption, for exportation. The other part, the last thing I'll say there, the development of any community is a tripartite approach. Obviously, no government in the world can fund everything. So we need to think, sometimes I say we need to throw the box away and start over. So the government will do what the government needs to do, which is really some of the fundamentals is security of lives and properties, infrastructure, and those things. We need to fix the institutions. The second thing is the private sector. I'm a private sector person, so I will use both my national and international network to bring opportunities and investment into Kwara South, so that when you have industry, when you have big companies, that will create employment. All of our people have gone to Lagos. We need to create opportunities for them to be able to want to come back home to capitalize on the job opportunities and be able to now bring their families back and create a way for them to sustain themselves. The last part of it is the NGO, non-government organizations. So government, private sector, and the non-government organizations. Where that is important is that a lot of the issues that are affecting our people, poverty, where people are orphans, where a lot of social issues, because we don't have a social safety net, a lot of social issues, there's a lot of funding out there to help those people. You know, that if you look at even WHO for healthcare, if you look at a lot of NGOs in the United States or United Kingdom, they have funds available. I don't want to start mentioning them, that's why. They have funds available that we can tap into to support whatever government is doing and private sector is doing, and create a conglomerate of opportunities for our people to begin to advance. So when our manifesto comes out, it's a 6-pillar manifesto, but I focus on jobs, 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 because that's the most important thing for our people.
You mentioned the issue of legislation, but we know that as a legislator, your powers are restricted to making laws. How will you use your influence to source funds to execute some of those laudable visions of yours?
So, I think we underestimate the power of legislators. And a lot of the time we underestimate it because the legislators themselves underestimate themselves. I think that, you see, there's a lot of power in when you are the Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There's hardly any company a senator will go into and say, these are the problems of my people. I need you to do some CSR for me. They know you as a senator, that they will listen to you and try and see what they can do. As a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, there's hardly any embassy you will go into and say, I need help with this and this. They will connect you with people that can help you. A lot of it is because our people, unfortunately, are very self-serving. There's hardly any minister in the executive wing that you will go to and beg or plead or do whatever you need to do to say, I need you to help my people with this and this and this. So your influence is through relationships. Your influence is through linkages and network. You have to be known to the executive arm, to the judicial arm. You have to be able to build relationship with the state government. You have to be able to build a relationship with other senators. You have to be able to work across party lines, across house, to accomplish what you think is important for your people. So I think what is lacking in most of the people that represent us, they don't understand leadership. They don't understand leadership. They don't understand what true governance, if governance is. They don't understand what we call servant leadership. You see, a lot of leaders make the mistake that when they become leaders, it is an opportunity for them to promote themselves. But when you're a leader, it is actually an opportunity for you to groom more leaders, to invest in other people. Because when they succeed, you succeed. But remember what I said at the beginning, that when you're chosen, when you're handpicked by somebody, your leadership potential sometimes will be diminished. You're not able to think freely, you're not able to make decisions freely, and you are limited by the capacity of the person that feels like he or she has put you there. So we need to go beyond that. I tell my people in Kwara South that this is probably the first opportunity we have for us to choose our own representation. Because over the last few decades, our representation has been chosen for us.
Kwara State is about 50 years now. Okay. In your assessment, will the developmental side of the state control with state?
Well, we have a lot of challenges, not just limited to Kwara State, but limited to multiple states, not just limited to even multiple states, even as a country. We have a lot of challenges. I think the biggest challenge we have is our institutions are broken. So, you see, because the institutions don't function the way they should function, that's why we have all these, sentimental arguments. Muslim ticket, Muslim Christian ticket, Igbo, Yoruba, because before the institution broke down, those sentiments existed, but they were pronounced. When the civil service worked excellently, at that time, even if you're a governor, if you wanted to do something that they felt was not going to work, they will objectively and respectfully tell you. The moment we destroy the civil service structure, the moment we begin to that's when we started getting into trouble. So, if you look at institutions, what is the institution? The educational system, the legislative system, judicial system, the way we select our leaders. People get to office, they start thinking what to do with the office. Is that the way it should be? When you destroy the educational system in any society, that's when you get bad doctors, bad lawyers, incompetent engineers. So all those things, people begin to have a way to cover them up. Corruption works for incompetent people. Corruption covers up incompetence. Because all you need to do is to know the right person to put you in a position, and then you are protected. Corruption covers incompetence. So when you say is Kwara up to speed, up to where we need to be, is Nigeria where we need to be? What people are now comparing Nigeria with Ghana. We're talking about Kenya. They're talking about Rwanda. Nigeria, with all the manpower and the skill sets and the natural resources that we have, this is where we are.
But what we suggest to be the way out for Kwara, because in the 70s we have Case and Life, Mashko, we have Ashita, so on. These are those, I'm not preparing to start the state industry, which really, by the Kwaras, people are making money. And life was so okay, because what we suggest to be the way out, to revive those industries.
It starts with leadership. And I'll give you an example during Murtala Mohammed. His life was shortened, may Allah bless his soul. The tone with Tide Agbon, the tone with which Wale and Tide Agbon time, we also got another example there. The tone with which they came into power, they set the stage. People started queuing. People started lining up in queues. It wasn't like Murtala Mohammed was everywhere, but the tone. This is not going to be business as usual. I'll give you a recent example. The first 6 months of the current administration, when Muhammadu Buhari took over, people started shivering at what's going to happen. And then this is where we are now. That's a long story. But I think that it starts with leadership. It also starts with vision. Having a very clear vision and having the humility to know that you don't know everything as a leader, and surrounding yourselves with the right people that are competent and they know what it takes. If I start answering you all the questions about industry, about economics, that's not my area of expertise. But what I know is that I can reach out to people that know those things better than me, and they can give me guidance. You see, the way we will perform, the way we will function is that we will bring strong expertise into the fold and say, we have this problem, please come and help me. But as a leader, you must have a clear vision. So where do you see Kwara in 10 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years? And then you must have a clear strategy. You must have your vision, mission. This is your strategy, and this is how you're going to implement it. We should have, I mean, that's what Lagos did. We don't have to go to any other country. Just look at how Lagos was transformed. You can say whatever you want to say with what's going on with the presidential competition now, but Lagos has shown us an example how things could be done. That's because they put the right peg in the right hole. The first cabinet of Asiwaju then was probably the only cabinet in the country where you had people from Imo State, from Ogun State, from Osun State, from Kwara State with Alhaji Lai Mohammed that were in the cabinet in a Yoruba dominant area, because he felt he could put the right peg in the right hole. That's why, you know, it's easy to pay tax in Lagos. It's easy to control infrastructure. You can't live in a place where they won't get you bill to pay land use charge. If they want to do inspection of your house now, they don't have to come to your site. They just go on the computer and they pull out your house and see what kind of property is on that land. You know, so, and then to now be able to survive for a few years without money from the federal government is because they built a strong economy. So I think leadership, a clear vision, have a strategy and implementation process.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Your party, SDP.
Yes, sir. Social Democratic Party, yes.
Yes, Social Democratic Party. What is the chance of that party in the state in the next election?
It's very good. The chance of... So let me tell you why I say that. You see, Otoge is something that we're not talking about much, but history would talk about that phenomenon so much in the next few decades. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria where an opposition party defeats an incumbent government 100%. Every single position was overturned. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria. What does that mean? Number one, Otuge is the beginning of political transformation in Kwara State. It's not the end. We're just getting started. And one of the outcomes of Otuge is that the people have been emboldened. There's political reorientation, political understanding, and people know, they now realize, oh my God, we've been cheated for all these decades. We've been worshiping people for all these decades. So there's a different way to do this. We can actually do better for ourselves. We can actually speak up. So that's the first fundamental thing we need to understand. The second thing is the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act. And I read it, but I'm not an attorney, but I understood some of the key points there. But I didn't really believe it, that it was going to be implemented. Then Ekiti happened, then Osun happened. The lessons of Osun, where an incumbent, you can use different theories to say it's because APC was divided, that's why it happened. But whatever be the case, it's still because people are emboldened to fight even within their own party that I'm not going to take this. So Kwara has shown the country that it can be done.
All right.
I say SDP will be victorious because the people will determine the outcome of the election in 2023, and they know what's right and what's wrong.
In the last 3 years of this administration, 3 years, you said you are one of the players for a year. Generally, how we have sent the last 3 years of Otuge administrations, apart from up to that objective analysis of this. Okay, I said meter from SN, what promise, what an area which you feel the improvement and improvement.
So I think that the problems that face Nigeria, is a problem that has limited so many governments. You know, when you have institutional breakdown, even if you have the best intentions, you're limited by the dysfunctional system. I was in the cabinet for a year, and I know how difficult it is to even get the right thing done on time. I know you could have the best intention, but the bureaucracy and the corruption and the challenges with institutions can make it very difficult. I think if we want to be fair, we need to say that the challenges of governing this country and trying to get the right thing done is difficult. The second thing I'll say is that, you know, sometimes how you do things is more important than what you do. And because politics is life, and politics is people. And so you have to be able to carry people along and to be able to lead. Lead in a way that everybody even wants to follow you. That's the second thing. In terms of gauging how the administration is done, I think I'm not running for governor of Kwara State. I am still baffled by some of the challenges we have in Kwara South. If I was a leader in charge of this state, I would have sleepless nights about the extent of unemployment in the state. I will have sleepless nights about the degree of insecurity in the state. I will have sleepless nights about the dilapidated infrastructure in the state. I will have sleepless nights about the fact that we have so much resources and so much opportunity to generate IGR, and we are not moving as fast as we should. But remember what I said, sometimes it's difficult to get those things moving because of the institutional breakdown.
What's your last message to people of Kwara South for them to make the right choice in their own interest?
Message to Kwara South. You have a question? I want to talk to my people in 2-3 ways. I'm your son. I am a proud Ajashepo indigene. I'm a proud Igbomina man. I'm a proud Kwara Southerner. I'm a proud Kwaran. And I love my state. I believe strongly in the potential and the opportunity for rapid development in the state. I'm giving up a lot of my own personal ambition to be able to come and fight the fight for my people. That's number one. The second thing is that for the first time in Kwara South, we actually have a candidate that can be ours. I am not being micromanaged. I'm not representing special interests. I'm not representing anybody. I want to represent you, so that your future, the future of your children, the future of your future generation is in your hand. Don't let anybody deceive you that there's a way that they have changed. People don't change. The other options you have seen what they have done, and you've seen what they are doing, and we want you to take ownership of your own future by joining this movement, which is our movement, which is your movement, which is a movement to transform Kwara South. The last thing I will say is that there is always an opportunity, a window of opportunity to do whatever we want to do in life. I think 2023 is that opportunity for all of us as Kwara Southerners, to take back our destiny, to take control of our destiny. And I want you to go out, get your PVCs, get your children to get their PVCs. I'm talking to both the people in the villages, in the towns, professionals, everybody that have interest in the development of Kwara South. Go and get your PVC and be an active participant in the democratic process in 2023, and by God's grace we'll be victorious. Thank you. Mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo ará ilé, mo fẹ́ kí yín pé ẹ kú weekend. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ a pẹ́ fúnra wa o. Ọlọ́run á dẹ́mi gbogbo wa sí. Ọlọ́run á fún gbogbo wa lẹ́yìn àlàáfíà. Mo fẹ́ sọ pé Ìgbómìnà ìṣọ̀kan, Ìgbómìnà ìṣọ̀kan. Mo tún wá fẹ́ kí àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n àtàbúrò láti Ìbọ̀lọ́ àti láti Èkìtì pé Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ ó dá fún gbogbo wa o. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ ìfẹ́ ta fi ń bára wa lò, Ọlọ́run kó má fìyà sí ìjà sáàárín ara wa. Ọmọ ìyá ọmọ bàbá ni gbogbo wa jẹ́, kọ̀ọ̀kan náà ni wá. But ọ̀rọ̀ Ìgbómìnà, ọ̀rọ̀ Kwara South, bó ṣe kan Ìgbómìnà ló kan Ìbọ̀lọ́ ló kan Èkìtì. Ìyà ń jẹ àwọn èèyàn wa, ìyà ń jẹ wá. Ọ̀rọ̀ òṣèlú tá ń ṣe kò àǹfààní wá sílùú. Gọ́tà ń sọ sí ní pé èmi gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ yín, mo fẹ́ lọ ṣàṣojú yín ní Àbújá. Kò sẹ́ni tó rán mi iṣẹ́, ẹ̀yin lẹ fẹ́ rán mi iṣẹ́. Kò ń ṣe pé bóyá ẹnìkan ló ń gbówó kan lẹ̀ pé kí n máa fi lọ ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ òṣèlú. Ọ̀rọ̀ nǹkan tó ń dùn àwọn èèyàn wa ló jẹ omi lógún, ló yẹ kémi náà jáde. Ẹ̀mí nìkan ò lè dẹ́rù igbé. Mo nídìí help yín, mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ràn mí lọ́wọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ a jọ ṣe iṣẹ́ yìí. Ẹ lọ gba PVC yín, nǹkan tó mi máa ń tẹ̀ka, ẹ lọ gbà á. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbòmìnira fún Kwara South. Ẹ lọ gbà 2023 ká gbogbo àwọn ọmọ yín àtẹ̀gbọ́n àtàbúrò, ẹ jẹ́ kán jáde kán lọ dìbò. Ìgbò yín máa count lọ́tẹ̀ yìí o. Ẹ má yẹ kán parọ́ fún yín pé ìgbò ní count o. Irọ́ náà ń pa, wọ́n fẹ́ kẹ́ jáde ni, wọ́n fẹ́ kẹ́ gbàwé ìdìbò ni o. Ìgbò ń count. Àwọn tó wà ń jọba gan ń yọ wọ́n pò báyìí sí torí ìgbò ń count. Ẹ lọ gba PVC yín, ẹ jẹ́ káwọn ọmọ yín náà gba ẹ dìbò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbòmìnira fún Kwara South. Ọlọ́run á dẹ̀ fún wa ṣe. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín.
Ògiri mọ́lẹ̀ ègbò ògiri mọ́lẹ̀ ègbò ìṣe àní Asani kajoroke kajorodo, ise ani kajoroke kajorodo, ise ani kamudu.